You know, defenders of liberty often note the seemingly inexorable, politically driven subjugation of the spirit in the West, the slow descent of free will, as collectivist politicians and their ideological allies reduce all human interaction to socialistic functions, to what's permitted by the state. After a while, it actually makes one wonder, as Chuck D of Public Enemy said, "How low can you go?" Well, in her proposal for new House rules, Speaker Nancy Pelosi just gave us a glimpse of how low she'll go. She wants to ban so-called gendered terms. So now the U.S. House might actually prohibit its members from using words like father, son, or even mother, which actually could be problematic for Her Hypocritical Highness, Ms. Pelosi. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRCTV. The big government politicians never stop hatching plans, even when many Americans are celebrating what's left of the so-called holidays. So it might not come as a surprise to discover that, as Breitbart's Alana Mastrangelo reports, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat of California, and Rules Committee Chair James McGovern, Democrat of Massachusetts, over the holidays proposed new rules for the language used in operating the upcoming 117th U.S. Congress. And it might not come as a surprise that their proposed new rules are dumb, insulting, counterfactual, and Orwellian. Notes Mastrangelo, within the proposals are the creation of the, quote, Select Committee on Economic Disparity and Fairness and Growth, end quote, which would require Congress to, quote, honor all gender identities by changing pronouns and familial relationships in the House rules to be gender neutral, end quote. And what does that mean? In Clause 8C3 of Rule 23, gendered terms such as father, mother, son, daughter, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, first cousin, nephew, niece, husband, wife, father-in-law, mother-in-law, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, stepfather, stepmother, stepson, stepdaughter, stepbrother, stepsister, half-brother, half-sister, grandson, or granddaughter will be removed. Because evidently there's no such thing as a granddaughter anymore. Is that reality in any way whatsoever? Well, given that people like Pelosi and most of those who have stepped foot in the House and Senate have not bothered to acknowledge the real wording of the U.S. Constitution, not to mention even abide by the Constitution, perhaps this is just a natural extension of the we can make words mean anything mentality. But this is a mentality that could become problematic when Nancy Pelosi herself tries one of her prideful go-to retorts when folks note that she's a hypocrite for claiming to be Catholic while not only supporting abortion, but taking other people's money to pay abortion providers and calling them family planning activities. Pelosi previously has shot back at critics who bring up her irreconcilable positions on abortion and Catholicism and life with her snide remark that she's a
mother of five.
And it's a statement that adds nothing to the discussion and is, of course, thrown down perhaps like some kind of emotional trump card to shut down criticism. Now, Pelosi wants to eliminate that kind of terminology on the House floor. Anybody want to bet whether or not she stops using it at home or in front of the press?
And the father,
my father,
mother, my husband, father,
sister, Mother Earth is angry.
Adds Mastrangelo. In their place, terms such as parent, child, sibling, parents, sibling, first cousin, siblings, child, spouse, parent-in-law, child-in-law, sibling-in-law, step-parent, stepchild, step-sibling, half-sibling, or grandchild will be used instead. Yes, make words mean different things and eliminate other words. It's not just reminiscent of Orwell's Newspeak from 1984, in which the government slowly eliminated words from usage so that the government could control the sphere of thought and expression in the population. It's actually reminiscent of Lewis Carroll's Humpty Dumpty, who in Alice Through the Looking Glass engaged in this exchange with Alice.
When I use a word, it means what I choose it to mean, neither more nor less.
The question is whether you can make words mean so many different things.
The question is, which is to be master, that's all.
Nancy Pelosi and her ilk would like to be masters, not only over language, but over the slow descent of American culture into a COVID-masked, word-muzzled, thought-constrained flock of sheeple. The next step could be similar to that of Canada's 2016 C-16 statute, which mandated that all state offices and any businesses the Canadian government regulates, which is pretty much all directly or indirectly, must use the pronoun of visitors that those visitors demand they use. Like Canada's troubling government, the US government long ago discarded the idea that private property is actually private, that businesses are owned by individuals. To them, it's all public, even when tax money isn't used on it. And so are you. You're not private either. You don't control your own life either. In their eyes, you have no real rights. And they will be the masters. They will control the language, even if it is absurd and a preacher opening up the house says amen and a women at the close of his opening sermon. A few thoughts as we look into the maelstrom. Like Edgar Allan Poe, the descent is occurring. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Keep the faith, keep fighting for freedom. We'll see you at MRCTV.org. Also, want to remind you again, if you want to get a great item like this one, check out MRC-store for that. And we'll see you on Facebook, Twitter, Parler, Instagram. I'll see you on Twitter as well. I'm at Gard Goldsmith on Twitter and at Gardner Goldsmith on Gab. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, like and subscribe, and please share these with your friends. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.